So next we come to the question, which is, what is recovery coaching? Well, first of all, I want to just show you the big picture in the field of recovery coaching as it stands at the moment. So recovery coaching actually refers to, if you like, a broad field within which our topic, which is the topic of substance and behavior misuse and or addiction, is one of the specialities, i.e. it's one of the areas that recovery coaching sits across. Recovery coaching isn't limited, of course, to that speciality, although there is a perception that that's what it's just about, because of that's where primarily there has been a lot of development of recovery coaching. However, recovery coaching actually covers other kinds of specialities. So we are now seeing the development of specialities such as recovery coaches who work with people who are experiencing diabetes, who are looking for recovery from that illness, or who are pre-diabetic, who are looking to not develop full-blown diabetes. We are seeing recovery coaching developing in the area of people coming back from traumatic situations such as being soldiers on the front line in Afghanistan, Iraq and so on. These are people who are suffering from post-traumatic stress syndrome, who need quite a lot of help to rebuild their lives and need to recover from the experience of being traumatized by being in the military services, being in war zones. These people often have issues around substance use and misuse, and also addictions, and there is a sort of crossover, if you like, in that speciality. But there is a separate speciality that deals with that. We're seeing recovery coaching in the health arena, particularly around chronic illness recovery. We're seeing, of course, what you might, of course, recognize as being a big problem, which is around eating disorders and so forth, where recovery coaches are now specializing in helping people who have issues like anorexia, bulimia and so on, or other kinds of eating disorders which they're looking to recover from. In the future there will be also other specialities which will emerge. So recovery coaching, the big picture, refers to all of those specialities. We of course are concerned with the one in red at the moment, which is what this course is really all about, which is the substance and behavior misuse and addiction speciality. But we keep in mind that there are these other specialities, and there are certain things that are common between them and the current speciality that we're going to be in for the rest of this introductory training. So let's get to a definition. What is recovery coaching? And this is the definition that the Foundation offers. Recovery coaching is a relationship between a recovery coach, recovery, and a recoveree, which is also called sometimes a client, where the recovery coaches use recovery coaching skills and techniques within a recovery orientation to assist the recovery to initiate, develop, maintain recovery. Initiate, develop, and maintain recovery. So this is a definition of recovery coaching. Recovery coaching is built on some key foundation points, and we're going to just go through the main 4 foundation stones of recovery coaching. The first one is that recovery always comes from the recoveree. So what do we mean by that? We mean that we do not, as recovery coaches, if you like, instill, implant, teach, or otherwise put into a recovery. Recovery actually emerges from them. Their ideas of what it is, how they want to engage with it, how they want to build it, how they want to develop it, it comes from them. And one of the principles that we rest our coaching on is that it always comes from the recovery. We are always seeking to learn more about how they want to recover and what that recovery is and how we can support that process. The second principle is the recovery process increases a recoveree's self-knowledge and ability to make choices. So a recovery process increases a recoveree's knowledge of themselves. So if they're in a coaching relationship with you and you're talking about their lives and they're looking at options and they're looking at how to build their lives, what is happening in that moment is that they are developing self-knowledge. They are learning more about themselves. As this self-knowledge increases, of course, their ability to make choices changes. In fact, it increases. So they become more aware of how they're choosing things, the choices they're making, the impact that's having on them and on others and their life overall. And they're feeding that back, if you like, into their coaching relationship with you, and they're learning more about themselves. And this is a foundational principle of recovery coaching, that the recovery process will have this outcome of more self-knowledge and more ability to make choices. Number 3, recovery develops through relationship with self, others, systems, and communities. So what do we mean by that? Well, there's a phrase, no man is an island. We are all connected to other people. And the principle here is that recovery is going to develop through at least the relationship with yourself, with the self. Recovery will emerge from you, and in relationship with yourself, you will pursue recovery. It also is going to occur in relationship to other people, i.e. we are all of us in some kind of relationship. It could be with our family, could be with our friends, could be with our community. We are in relationship with people all the time. And unless we live up a mountain and never speak to anybody, the fact that we're in relationship is going to be occurring on an ongoing daily basis. And we're saying that recovery develops through those interactions in those relationships. Also saying in this principle that recovery develops through a relationship with systems, and systems will be social systems, systems that are providing external resources, the systems in which we live in our culture and society. They're all different, of course, across different societies, but nevertheless recovery will develop through an interaction with that. And then last, recovery develops through relationship with communities. Community can be the community of your family, it can be your local community of your street, it could be a recovery community that you belong to, it can be a church community or religious community or spiritual community, any kind of community, any place where people are coming together in some kind of common cause for some common purpose. We're saying that recovery develops through a relationship with community. Now, this principle does not say that you therefore have to be in community to achieve recovery, or that you have to be in certain kinds of relationships with other people or systems. But what we're saying is that recovery will tend to develop through interactions with these different parts of both systems, communities, other people and relationships, and yourself. So that's the third principle. The fourth principle is this: recovering people are complete in the present moment and yet continuously changing. Very important principle. It is important that we don't make up a story to ourselves that we know people completely, that they're never going to change, that they're always the same. And yet it's also important that we accept that when people step into a coaching relationship with us or step into the session to have with us, that they are seen and held as complete in that present moment with whatever they bring. So it's this paradoxical idea, if you like, that people are simultaneously absolutely complete in the moment. There's nothing broken, wrong, missing, that they're not deficient in any way. They are what they are in that present moment, and we acknowledge them and we see them there. And yet at the same time we know that people are changing all the time, and we don't fall asleep to this idea that we know people, and don't start saying to ourselves, I know this person completely, and therefore stop being curious about them. So those are the four principles. The recovery coaching principles are available in more detail on our website, www.recoverycoachingfoundation.co.uk, or you can see them as part of the course materials in this section under handouts. Please read them.